Hi friends, myself Subrata Mukherjee, and today I will solve a problem on fund flow statement. The balance sheet and profit and loss account gives a static view of the business. Profit and loss account is drafted on accrual basis. The profit and loss account shows the expenses and income of the financial year on accrual basis. The balance sheet shows the value of assets and liabilities on a particular date. This statement do not show the movement of the balances of the items over the financial year. The fund flow statement shows the movement of funds over two balance sheet dates. Fund flow statement shows the sources and application of fund. Fund flow statement is prepared on cash basis and not on accrual basis. The non-cash items are adjusted with the net profit as calculated from the profit and loss account to determine the funds from operation. The statement showing the changes in working capital help us to analyze the working capital. Working capital is the amount of current assets that is financed by long-term liabilities. Mathematically, working capital is the difference between the current assets and current liabilities. A part of the current asset is financed by the short-term liabilities or the current liabilities, and the balance is financed by the long-term liabilities. We know the cost of financing the long-term liabilities is much more than financing the short-term liabilities or the current liabilities. This is reason why the analysis of working capital is more important. Where there is an increase in working capital over the year, we need to introspect why there is an increase in working capital, as increase in working capital means that the fund of the business is blocked and we need to count on the interest. When we are solving a problem on fund flow statement, we need to prepare the two statement, that is the fund flow statement and the statement showing changes in working capital. We prepare the ledgers of the items of the balance sheet other than the current assets and current liabilities to determine the reason of the difference in the opening and closing balances, to determine the sources and application of funds over the two balance sheet dates. Now here is the problem that we are going to solve today. The balance sheet of Oscar Limited on 30th June 2019 and 30th June 2020 are given below. Now, here I would like to request my student who are viewing this video to note this problem in your notebook so that you can solve it in your notebook when I am also solving it for you. It will help you to analyze how to solve a problem on fund flow statement. Now, the balance sheet of Oscar Limited as on 30th June 2019 and 2020. Share capital 60,000 and 70,000. Reserve and surplus is 28,500 and 45,000. Long-term borrowing, that is 8% debenture. You have 30,000 as on 30th June 2019 and 20,000 on 30th June 2020. Trade payables, creditors for good is 16,000 and 25,000. Other current liabilities, creditor for expenses 1,000 and 1,200. Short-term provisions 10,000 and 11,000. Property, plant and equipment, under we have tangible assets of 80,000 and 95,000. Non-current investment at cost is 18,000 and the closing balance is also 18,000. Inventories 20,000 and 25,000. Trade receivables 26,300, 32,700. Cash and cash equivalent 1,000, and other current assets, prepaid expenses, we have 200 and 500. Now here is the notes to account. Equity capital 50,000, 65,000 as on 30th June 2019 and 30th June 2020 respectively. Redeemable preference share is 10,000 and 5,000. Under reserve and surplus, we have general reserve 20,000 and 25,000. Profit on sale of investment is nil and 1,000. Profit and loss account 8,500 and 19,000. Under short-term provisions, proposed dividend 3,000 and 3,500. Provision for taxation 7,000 and 7,500. Under tangible assets, plant and machinery at cost 1 lakh and 1,20,000. Less provision for depreciation 20,000 and 25,000. So the closing balance or the net balance of tangible asset is 80,000 and 95,000. Under trade receivables, we have debtors and bills receivable. Debtors 22,500 and 26,500, and bills receivable is 3,800 and 6,200. Now the adjustment entries. Now other information: during 1920, plant and machinery present book value of rupees 1,000, depreciation return of rupees 3,000 was sold for rupees 800. The dividend proposed in last year was paid in 1920. During 2019-20, investment costing 8,000 were sold and investment of the same cost were purchased. Preference shares were redeemed at 5% premium by issuing new shares. Equity shares and debentures were redeemed at 10% premium. Taxation liability for 2018-19 was settled at rupees 5,500. On the basis of the above information, prepare statement of changes in working capital and fund flow statement of Oscar Limited for the year ended 30th June 2020. So now we will solve the problem. So first of all, I have prepared the structure of the fund flow statement. We need to prepare the two statements. One, the fund flow statement for the year ended 30th June 2020, where the sources and application of fund will be recorded. And number two is a statement showing the changes in working capital during the year 2019 and 2020. Now I have prepared the ledgers of different items of the balance sheet. So taking from the liability side, the first item is the equity share capital, and I have put the opening and the closing balances as 50,000 and 65,000. The next ledger is the preference share capital, the opening balance being 10,000 and the closing balance is 5,000. Now there is an adjustment regarding preference share capital, that there is a redemption of preference share capital. So I have prepared the preference shareholder account simultaneously. The next item is the reserve and surplus, under which the first item is general reserve. So the opening balance is 20,000 and the closing balance is 25,000. The next item is profit on sale of investment. The opening balance is nil and the closing balance is 1,000. Then the next item is profit and loss account. The opening balance is 8,500, and you need to keep a space for this profit and loss account because all the adjustment will be written here. And the closing balance I have written as 19,000. The next item is 8% debenture. The opening balance is 30,000 and the closing balance is 20,000. After debenture, you have current liabilities. So the current liability item I have posted in the statement showing the changes in working capital. Here I have written creditors for good 16,000 and 25,000. The opening and the closing balance, and the creditor for expenses is 1,000 and 1,200. So within current liabilities, you have short-term provisions. Since there are adjustment regarding the proposed dividend and provision for taxation, so I have opened these two ledgers separately. The opening and the closing balance of proposed dividend I have written as 3,000 and 3,500, and regarding provision for taxation, the opening balance I have written 7,000 and 7,500. So this way I have posted all the figures which are there in the liability side of the balance sheet. So moving forward to open the other ledgers of the balance sheet, that is on the asset side, the first item being plant and machinery account. Here the balance of plant and machinery account is given at cost. The opening balance being 1 lakh and the closing balance is 1,20,000. So there is a provision for depreciation against the opening and the closing balance of plant and machinery account. The opening balance of provision for depreciation is 20,000 and the closing is 25,000. So there is an adjustment entry regarding the plant and machinery, and there is a disposal of asset. So in the working I have opened this asset disposal account. The next item is the investment account, the opening and the closing balance being 18,000. So now we have to record the balances of current assets. Stock in trade 20,000, 25,000 as on 30th June 2019 and 30th June 2020. Debtors 22,500 and 26,500. Bills receivable 3,800 and 6,200. Cash and cash equivalent 1,000 and 1,000. Prepaid expenses 200 and 500. So the total of current asset is 47,500 and 59,200 as on 30th June 2019 and 30th June 2020 respectively. The current liabilities I have already recorded earlier as 17,000 and 26,200. So the working capital calculated at 30,500 and 33,000. There is an increase in working capital of 2,500, and this increase in working capital of 2,500 we are going to post it in the application side of the fund flow statement. So here I have now posted all the balances in the balance sheet. Now moving forward to the adjustment entries which is given in the additional information. Now regarding the adjustment entry, the first item in other information you have during 2019-20 plant and machinery present book value of rupees 1,000, depreciation return of rupees 3,000 was sold for rupees 800. So the book value costing rupees 4,000 has been disposed of. So in plant and machinery account I have written by asset disposal account 4,000, and in asset disposal account I have transferred this balance from plant and machinery. So asset disposal account debit to plant and machinery 4,000. Now on the credit side of asset disposal account I have written by provision for depreciation 3,000, which is given in the information that this 3,000 of depreciation has been written off against this machine and it has been sold for rupees 800. So by bank I have written 800, and profit and loss account that there is a loss incurred by selling or disposing this asset for rupees 200. So in asset disposal account I have written by provision for depreciation 3,000. So I have to transfer this balance of provision of rupees 3,000 to provision for depreciation account. In provision for depreciation account I have written to asset disposal account 3,000. Regarding the sale of asset, that is bank account debit to asset disposal of 800, I have to post it in the fund flow statement on the source side, and regarding the loss on sale of asset I have to post it in the PL account. In PL account I have written to loss on sale of plant and machinery rupees 200, and in source side of the fund flow statement I have written sale of plant and machinery for rupees 800. The next item of adjustment is the dividend proposed in the last year was paid in 2019-20. So the last year proposed dividend was the balance of which was 3,000. So in 19-20 it has been paid. So proposed dividend account debit to bank, and the balancing figure of rupees 3,500 has been transferred from profit and loss account. So there are two journal here that I have passed in under proposed dividend. One, proposed dividend account debit to bank, and the other one is the profit and loss account debit 3,500 to proposed dividend 3,500. So regarding the payment of dividend I have to post it in the application side of fund flow statement, and in profit and loss account I have to place it as to proposed dividend 3,500. So in PL account I have written to proposed dividend rupees 3,500, and in the application side of the fund flow statement I have written dividend paid rupees 3,000. The third item of additional information is during 2019-20 investment costing rupees 8,000 were sold and investment of the same cost were purchased. So this is a ledger that I have opened as profit on sale of investment. So the balancing figure in this account is the profit on sale of investment. So the journal entry I have written investment account debit to profit on sale of investment. So I have to transfer this balance to investment account. So profit on sale of investment has been transferred to investment account as to profit on sale of investment 1,000. So there is a purchase of investment for rupees 8,000. So the journal entry is investment account debit to bank. So there is a purchase of investment for 8,000. So this will be posted in the application side of the fund flow statement for rupees 8,000. So the balancing figure in investment account is the sale value of investment. So the asset or the investment that has been sold out was for rupees 9,000. So the cost value of 8,000 was sold at rupees 9,000 and a profit of 1,000 has been made on sale of investment. So this balancing figure of rupees 9,000 will be posted on the source side of fund flow statement. So on sources I have written sale of investment for rupees 9,000 and on application I have written purchase of investment for rupees 8,000. Now regarding the third item, in the additional information, the preference shares were redeemed at 105%. So preference share capital account debit to preference share holder account. So the balancing figure in the preference share capital I have transferred to preference share holder account. And in preference share holder account I have brought the balance from preference share capital as 5,000 and it has been redeemed at 5% premium. So to bank, preference share holder account debit to bank is 5,250. So 5,000 into 105% is 5,250. So this amount I will place it in the application side in the fund flow statement. And the balancing figure in the preference share holder account represents the premium on redemption and that will be transferred from profit and loss account for rupees 250. So this 250 I will place in the profit and loss account. So on application side I have written redemption of preference shares 5,250 and in PL account I have written 2 premium on redemption rupees 250. The last item in the adjustment is the taxation liability for 2018-19 was settled at rupees 5,500. So I have passed this journal entry provision for taxation account debit to bank 5,500 and the other journal is profit and loss account debit to provision for taxation. This is the final balancing figure of rupees 6,000. So profit and loss account debit to provision for taxation rupees 6,000. So regarding the payment of tax of rupees 5,500 I will place it in the application side of the fund flow statement and regarding this rupees 6,000 I will place it in the profit and loss account. In profit and loss account I have placed to provision for taxation rupees 6,000 and in fund flow statement I have written payment of tax rupees 5,500. So after posting all the opening and the closing balances of balance sheet, I have passed the journal entry for the adjustment entries given in the additional information and after posting all the journal entries of the additional information, now it is the time to close the balances or the ledgers that I have opened. The first item is the equity share capital. The balancing figure represents the issue of share capital for rupees 15,000. So this amount of rupees 15,000 I have to place it in the source side of the fund flow statement. The next ledger that I will close is the general reserve. The balancing figure represents 5,000 that has been transferred from profit and loss account. So the journal entry is profit and loss account debit to general reserve rupees 5,000. In profit and loss account I have written to general reserve rupees 5,000. The next ledger that I am going to close is 8% debenture account. There was an adjustment entry that I forgot, so I have to write it here at the time of closing this ledger. So 8% debenture was redeemed at 10% premium. So 8% debenture account debit to bank. So 11,000 I have written here. So the opening balance was 30,000 and the closing balance was rupees 20,000. So altogether the 10,000 of debenture was redeemed at 10% premium. So 10,000 debentures was redeemed at a premium of 10%. It means the amount that was redeemed was 11,000. So 8% debenture account debit to bank 11,000 and this 11,000 I will post it in the application side of the fund flow statement and the balancing figure in the debenture account represents the premium amount, that is 1,000, and this amount of 1,000 we need to transfer it from profit and loss account. So journal entry is profit and loss account debit to 8% debenture 1,000. So in PL account I have written premium on redemption of debenture rupees 1,000. And regarding redemption of debenture, I have placed it in application side of the fund flow statement as redemption of debenture for rupees 11,000. The next ledger that I have closed is the plant and machinery account. The balancing figure of rupees 24,000 represent the purchase of plant and machinery. So this amount of 24,000 I will place it in the application side of the fund flow statement. The next item is the provision for depreciation. The balancing figure of rupees 8,000 is the amount of depreciation for the current year. So PL account debit to provision for depreciation 8,000. In the fund flow statement, I have written the purchase of plant and machinery for rupees 24,000. In profit and loss account, I have written the provision for depreciation for rupees 8,000. Now I will close the last ledger, that is the profit and loss account, and the total of the debit side is 42,950, and the balancing figure in the profit and loss account represents fund from operation, that is 34,450. So this amount of 34,450, which represents the fund from operation, I will place it in the source side of the fund flow statement. So the fund from operation I have posted in the sources side of the fund flow statement as 34,450, and the two side of the fund flow statement is 59,250. The sources total is 59,250 and the application total is also 59,250. So this way I have solved this problem of fund flow statement. Now let me tell you what are the different steps that I have adopted here to solve the problem. First, I have opened the two statement, fund flow statement and the statement showing changes in working capital. Next, I have posted all the balances of the items given in the balance sheet in the respective ledger. Thereafter, I have posted the journal entries of the adjustment entries given in additional information. And last, I have closed all the ledgers, the balances of which I have placed either in profit and loss account or in the fund flow statement. And from the statement of changes in working capital, the increase or decrease in working capital we will get, that will be posted in the application side if there is an increase in working capital, and if there is a decrease in working capital, it will be posted on the source side. At last, I will say that I would request all the students who are viewing my channel to subscribe the channel so that you will get the notification whenever I am going to release a new video. Thank you.